I don't know how you can follow that. No, so I'll keep it very short. But big thanks, Chaplain Green. It's about 2 years in the making, putting this together, just getting the right folks, the right team. The only thing we messed up, I think, is resilience. You know, should have said grit. We could have said, all the other. But no, seriously, just tremendous. And so I'm just going to point out a few things, but I do want to also thank Les Smith and the leadership and education team. They were the ones working for 2 years, working all this. So I have a round of applause for tremendous job. Chaplain Green, Chaplain Green and his team and that team. So, I'm not going to summarize everything, but there's some things I have to say again. They were just so darn good. Your people must know they belong and they matter. You think about that, that sounds very simple, but it's not so simple when you're leading them in tough situations, really leading anywhere. Must know they belong and matter. Resilience or grit is not built in isolation. It's built with trust, not silence and fear. Chaplain Green, tremendous there. The campfire principle, boy, it's just a great way to describe how do you cultivate a culture of connection. And of course, we heard from so many great panelists how that connection is being lost. And that's why it's crazy. You would think with the devices, we'd be more connected and less lonely than ever, but people are lonelier than ever because they're missing that connection. It's nothing like the human to human. Reminds me of, during COVID at first, we all thought it was wonderful to do everything by Zoom. You'd have your pajamas on, only be half dressed. You never had to leave the house. But after about 6 months, we were sick of hearing you're on mute, number one. But also, like, we were craving. Never forget, we had the AUSA annual meeting, and it was like a giant reunion of kids that had never seen each other getting back together, so happy to be with people. And that connection, there's nothing like it. You can't do that virtually. How encouraging that we're seeing from the Army, and we had the Navy here too, which is pretty awesome. But we're seeing from the Army the largest human performance program ever implemented. That tells you what the Army thinks of people, and the largest ever implemented. So over the industry here, cannot be done without you. And so I think it was a huge success for the connections today. We were a huge success in networking and connections, and I saw it all over. And that's so critical because we cannot do it. Army cannot do it without industry. It used to be the good ideas came from the Department of Defense, things like the internet, and industry stole them. Well, now industry moves so fast, you have to have industry, or our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, Guardians, they will not, have the advantage. God forbid if they ever have to go into a conflict, they'll always be lacking if we don't partner with industry right. So thank you for being here and for your ideas. Unbelievable, a huge difference. Some other things this was a great one. I think came from a mother. A students run the world. C students come along and fix it. I think that was just a great advice right there, and encouraging for all us C students, no doubt. Keeping in the fight and returning to the fight, a tremendous perspective General Tahan talked about, and a perspective there, how critical it is, because we know life will punch you in the face. But when you look at the human side of performance and leadership, and as Vince Brooks so well said, bouncing back is key, even though we won't call it resilience, but bouncing back and having that grit is absolutely key. And I love the acknowledgement of the military family. It was not acknowledged for a while. It was like the old, if we wanted you to have a family, we would have issued you one, right? And that was kind of the attitude. So that acknowledgement is incredible. And how do we bring community and humanity back together again? Oof. I have this vision. You see people throwing their phones away, but it's interesting. The younger generation getting phones that aren't connected. It's almost the same thing. And that's absolutely key. And then, the other part, just the spiritual, has been a controversial. I remember when we first were talking resilience in the domains, and there was a point that we're going to get rid of spiritual because, well, you can't force religion on people and so forth. And it was a lack of, in fact, many of us who believed that was central and key, as General Brooks described, the only thing that can't be taken away, the absolute key. We put up a Marshall's quote, and the soldier spirit, soul is everything. And, what he had understood and saw in World War II, if you don't have that spirit, good luck with everything else. And of course, it's different for everybody. There's not forcing religion on individuals. No, it's a spiritual that we all have. How you exercise it is different for different people, but it's absolutely critical. And then I thought, just unbelievable. Just think about for a second. Look what Ukraine is going through, the devastation, the horror. You've been over and just seen and experienced it. You know, if you haven't been, you're just watching and seeing all the material. Yet 71% of the Ukrainian people have hope because of that community and that horizontal connection. I think you could poll in the United States, it wouldn't be 71% of the people had hope. And we're not getting bombed every day and people, millions of people affected and thousands killed. It's pretty incredible what community does and those horizontal relationships. So I could go on for more, but I think that's unbelievable, and we thank you for being a part of it. A lot of preparation, but well worth it. And then the final thing I would say is, do not stop here. This is wonderful, but if we leave here, we don't build on those connections. We don't get the Army what it needs. We don't work to make things better. Uh, what good will it have been, right? Nothing. It's going to take a lot of work because I've seen it for many years. The whole holistic approach is fairly new, and nobody ever questioned, particularly in the Army, physical working out, physical. Nobody ever questioned why we do PT, physical, but they question the holistic, they question the mental, they question. It's amazing to me, but they do. So a lot of work here. So build on those connections you've made. Uh, Build on what inspired you to improve and help the Army, because we need it in these crazy, challenging times. The stronger the Army is, the better chance we have at peace. And it will not be strong if we don't get this aspect of it right. So thank you very much for joining us. Safe travels. Watch the tough weather, and thanks for joining us, and safe travels as you depart. Okay.